You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's go over the good of this game. And I want to start off with the end. Because we saw a true freshman. We saw a number of true freshmen get opportunities in this game. It was later than we would like to have seen, but they got opportunities. Jamie Tremble caught a pass in the end. Yassine Willis had a solid game. But you notice there's one name that I'm leaving out here. KingJosepth Edwards. How about him? I think he only played about a quarter. I think he only played the fourth quarter. I didn't really notice him on the field other than the fourth quarter. You can fact check me on that one. My goodness, he was spectacular. Now, look, you got to preface it with that it is Holy Cross. But KingJosepth Edwards had 3 sacks. He was terrific. And those weren't just cheapy sacks, right? It wasn't just, the quarterback held onto the ball for 17 seconds in the pocket and then eventually a pass rusher got home. No. These were legitimate sacks within a few seconds of the quarterback getting the ball. So it was on the offensive line, which is a good sign for KingJosepth Edwards. And I think with him going forward, if he's not ready physically to be able to handle the run, that's one thing. I understand that. But he's got to be on the field more. He's got to be on the field more, at least in third down pass rushing situations. KingJosepth Edwards has got to see more playing time. He was a 4-star true freshman. You can argue he was the best recruit that Syracuse got in the 2024 cycle. He's an edge rusher. He was outstanding in the limited playing time that he saw in this game. And it leads me to the other positive, which is what I mentioned earlier, that there were a number of true freshmen that got opportunities, right? We saw Jalen Hornsby have a catch. We saw Jamie Tremble have a catch. Jamie Tremble, a 4-star tight end. Jalen Hornsby, a 3-star wide receiver. So it was good to see those true freshmen get involved. KingJoseph Edwards was, in my opinion, he was the star of the game. Absolutely terrific. And he only played in the fourth quarter and he had 3 sacks. Outstanding job by him. I do also want to praise the whole team in general for the start of this one. Remember against Stanford last week, Syracuse came out flat and it set the tone for the rest of the night. They were outgained significantly in the first quarter. But in this one, they completely flipped the script. Completely. Syracuse starts on defense. They get a 3-and-out, and Devin Grant made a couple plays there. He was also sensational in this one. Devin Grant, I think, had his best game in a Syracuse uniform to date. He was terrific. That was a positive. So the defense gets a 3-and-out. The offense, they score a touchdown. Holy Cross goes back on offense. Our defense gets a 3-and-out. Syracuse again scores a touchdown. So now we're up 14-0. And then in the second quarter, very beginning of it, Syracuse scores again to make it 21-0. So the very beginning of this game was outstanding. It was outstanding. So you got to credit the coaching staff for having them ready to play. Now, when we get to the bad parts of this game, we're going to talk about how they let their foot off the gas a little bit. But at least in the start, they were really, really good. They outgained Holy Cross in the first quarter, 204-14. They started 4 for 4 on third down, and Holy Cross was 0 for 3 on third down to start. And there you go. That's like the difference in the game right there. You force 3 straight 3-and-outs. Your offense isn't getting off the field on third down. They're extending drives. So well done for this coaching staff, having this team ready to go from the get-go. It's easy to come out flat against an FCS team, but they didn't. So you got to give them a little bit of credit. They also, at no point, as bad as it was at some points in this game, I never felt that Syracuse was actually going to lose. I guess that's a positive for you, right? I didn't think they were actually ever going to lose. I know that at one point it got to 21-14 and Holy Cross had the ball. But it's almost like close your eyes for a second and actually imagine Holy Cross winning that game. Like it at least from my perspective, I never thought they were going to win. So take that. Other positives, Jackson Meeks. Jackson Meeks was really good. How about him? I spoke about in the lead up to this game when I talked about the lineup changes that Syracuse was making, that Jackson Meeks was now the number one wide receiver on the depth chart. Because, well, their normal number one receiver, Zeed Haynes, he is still out due to a personal matter, and I just hope that everything is okay with him. He's still out. He didn't play today. I don't think he was even on the sideline either, so you just got to hope that he's all right. And when I do have an update with Zeed Haynes, I will be sure to share it. But at least in this game, they didn't miss him. They didn't miss him at all. Jackson Meeks finished with 10 catches for over 160 yards and a touchdown. That is a career day for Mr. Jackson Meeks. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's more yards that he had in this game than he had in his entire career prior to Syracuse. I'm going to have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure he didn't even have 160 total yards at Georgia in 3 years. But Jackson Meeks getting his opportunity as the wide receiver one. He was getting open all afternoon. He was Kyle McCord's number one target. And finally, because I think this is going to set us up for the bad parts of this game. Once again, Syracuse beats Holy Cross 42-14. They are now 3-1 on the season, which is good. They were actually able to run the football with their running backs. I'm going to give you the stats. LeQuint Allen, 16 carries, 81 yards. That's 5.1 yards per carry. Will Nixon had 7 carries for 29 yards, 4.1 yards per carry. Yassine Willis, 4 carries, 27 yards, 6.8 yards per carry. There were others mixed involved there. Jaden Hart, he's another true freshman that got involved late in the game. 1 carry for 11 yards. The Syracuse running backs, they were gaining good yards on the ground. And I know people are going to criticize the offensive line, but at least in their run blocking, I actually thought it was pretty good. I saw gaping holes for a lot of the game, which is what you would expect when you're going up against an FCS team. So the good parts of this game, we saw a lot of true freshmen. KingJosepth Edwards was sensational, literally led off the podcast talking about him. Jackson Meeks, he seized the opportunity as a wide receiver one. 10 catches over 160 yards. I never actually felt Syracuse was going to lose, even though it got hairy at times. Never thought they were going to lose, which is good. And the running backs and at least the run blocking were pretty good today.